Assalamu alaikum and welcome students. I hope all of you are doing fine. I have told you that I am trying to create video tutorials for the history, but I'm very disappointed that especially the students of 6th A, they have not attended the geography class. We are actually the 6B is almost they have almost covered all of the third chapter and completed their geography syllabus, but the 6th they have not even been attending the class. So I have complained this to your in charge and to the section head. So and I told you that I will make the video tutorials for the histories syllabus, and here we are. The next chapter, the chapter number 5 that we're going to uh, study is uh, the chapter about the Persian Empire. Persian Empire was one of the greatest empires of the world. It roughly corresponds to the modern day Iran. It can actually be considered Iran can actually be considered as the successor state of this particular empire. This was actually conquered by the Rashidun caliphates, or the Khalifas of Islam in the 7th century. It existed prior to that. So it included territories of present day Iran, Afghanistan, Egypt, Turkey, and Pakistan, and even some Greek and Central Asian states as well. They actually left a lot of archaeological evidence and also left a lot of written documents of themselves as well. The Persian civilization as a whole is also referred to as Sasanian Empire, but the overall civilization has existed even before the Sasanian Empire. It has often been called as the world's first great superpower as well, and it actually spanned across the three continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe. And they created a lot of things like the first road network, the first mailing service, or uh, the first irrigation system, and a lot of other things as well. Their capital was Persepolis. It was an ancient city, and it is currently in ruins and is located in Iran proper. And the end of Persian civilization happened after the Arab conquest. The Rashidun Caliphates, they actually conquered the Persian Empire, because at that time it was too weak after years of wars against the Roman Empire. The most defining feature of the Persian civilization is the Oxus chariot. Oxus is a river in Central Asia, and there was a chariot that was found close to the river Oxus. So it has been shown in the diagram as well. All of you also have to keep your books with you as well. I'm only using these pictures as a reference point. You guys have to, take out your books and refer to those along with me as we go. So the thing about this Oxus chariot is it had four ponies or four horses, small horses, or four ponies. Ponies are actually smaller horses, and the chariot itself is large, and it has very large wheels, and wheels are as big as the horses themselves. So what was basically the purpose of this Oxus chariot? In fact, one very interesting thing about this is that the person that is depicted as driving the chariot is actually wearing Median uh, clothing. Medes was also an empire during that time. At that time, it was also located in the northern Iran. It was eventually conquered by the Persians. So the clothing is Median, but the chariot itself had a head of a Egyptian god as well. But again, this was found in Iran. So many believe that this particular chariot was, you know, uh, uh, a sacred object that people used to revere, or used to worship gods using it, or used to sacrifice it for towards the gods. But what we can actually assume from this chariot is that it had details made up of bronze, which mean that the bronze was actually the Persian Empire at that time was very proficient in metallurgy of bronze as well. So the other thing that these Persians actually did, they actually created royal road. So on page number 42, you can actually see an image of the royal road. It started from Sardis in Asia Minor, today's Turkey, and went to Persepolis in Persia proper, and actually went beyond it as well, towards Hindu Kush mountains and toward Taxila. The modern day city in Pakistan is also named after that particular city. It actually it allowed travelers and merchants to move very quickly within the empire. In fact, there was a Greek historian Herodotus that commented that it is also written in the book, neither rain nor snow nor heat nor gloom of night prevents these couriers, the messengers. In fact, the Persian Empire also created the first uh, mailing service, first messengers of any unified empire. And on this road, they actually created 100 inns. Inns are usually small scale hotels that the travelers and merchants can stay in or visit after traveling for a while. And they actually also created, I have already told you that they also created first um mailing service. They also created a system of irrigation that was underground. We call it kanat. In Balochistan we call it kares, but the Persians used to call it kanats. Kanats are usually underground canals, underground cisterns. Cisterns are large cavities uh, under the surface of the earth that are used to store water. It keeps the water colder, and it also uh, saves it from evaporating due to sun. Uh, I always do this. I have to go to left, but I go to right. So the next topic that we are going to study about is the what kind of the Persian government did they have. So what they would do, they would divide their you know they would divide their whole empire into different provinces or satraps. They would call it satraps or satraps. And every satrap would be ruled by someone from within that particular satrap. He was responsible for collecting the taxes, raising army, and keeping the population loyal to the empire as a whole. So that was the basic tenet of the Persian government. The first emperor or the first king of the Persian Empire was the Cyrus the Great. Now, Cyrus the Great was not only the first king; he was also the one that actually created the Persian Empire. He actually conquered the Babylonian Empire, he conquered the Assyrians, he conquered all the Medians and everyone in his path to create the great Persian Empire. And before the advent of Cyrus the Great, the Babylonians used to rule with a very strict hand. They used to deport almost all of people from a particular area and send them to to a vastly different area of the empire. This was their way of punishing the subjects that were not loyal to them. And this was very cruel to other people. So when Cyrus the Great actually conquered the Babylonian Empire, the first thing he did was he allowed people to return to their homes. So which is why he's actually known very favorably among historians, and at that time he was also known very favorably among his subjects as well. In fact, there is a clay slender of the Cyrus the Great. It actually had his decrees or what he, wanted, how the people would see him. He wanted the people to have a very favorable view of him. He actually told them that if their temples are in disrepair, they will rebuild their temples and will also pay for these temples as well. They will not rule with the same cruelty as the Babylonians did. In fact, there was a Greek writer, Xenophon, that actually wrote about Cyrus that his subjects were very that Cyrus the Great treated his subjects or treated his people with very respect and very warmly, and the people also respected him just as they would respect their own father. So this was a very he is collectively known very favorably in history. He is well regarded in among historians as well. The most famous writing or inscriptions that is attested to him is by the Greek philosopher Plutarch. That there was an inscription on his tomb that read that, "O man, whoever you are and wherever you come from, for I know you will come. I am Cyrus who won the Persians their empire. Do not therefore begrudge me this bit of fur that covers my bones." This actually represents the wisdom that he had and how wise he actually was. And there is a lot of historical debate as to how what exactly the Cyrus was really like. Was he really as great as these inscriptions tell us, or was he something else? In fact, while there is no you can say there is no direct evidence of all his deeds that has been inscribed to him, we can generally assume that he was a well regarded ruler. He was a Zoroastrian. Zoroastrianism is a religion that calls their god Ahura Mazda. He was actually, it is speculated that he personally belonged to that religion, but he actually tolerated all the other religions as well. In fact, he also established the Jewish temple in Jerusalem as well. That is why he is also very well regarded by the Jews too. So the type of government we have already studied what type of government they used to have. It was more of a local government with a centralized control. How was that? That that most of his empire was divided into four provinces, and each province was ruled by a governor that was known as a satrap. These provinces were also called a satrap. So as long as the subjects were loyal to him or the people were loyal to him, they could actually have a say in how they were being administered. But if the people started to rebel, those rebellions could also be crushed very begrudgingly or very cruelly as well. The next ruler after Cyrus was the Darius the First. In Urdu, we call him Dara. He was actually the sixth ruler of the Persian Empire, but he was among the uh, greatest of its ruler after the Cyrus. He had a large number of inscriptions that are associated with Darius the First, and most of them are at Mount Behustan. Behustan is actually currently in modern Iran and is a testament to everyone that passes through it. One of its inscriptions says that within these lands, whoever was a friend, I have certainly protected; whoever was an enemy, I have completely destroyed. This was a claim made by Darius the First. And again, Darius the First is also considered as a great ruler himself. Uh, he is considered as very ambitious. All of you guys are suggested to stay inside and do not go out in smoke. As you can clearly see, I myself am sick due to smoke. So the most important thing that Darius did, well, there are a lot of important things that Darius did, but one was the common standard. So what he did, he actually introduced some standard weights and measures. Like he introduced what 1 kilogram was, or what or other forms of how to measure the weight of a particular grains or any commodity that is to be traded. So this actually made trade very easy, and he he also made Aramaic language the official language of the his empire. So why he did that, despite him personally speaking Persian, is that Aramaic at that time was the most widely spoken language at that time. Darius the First also introduced checks and balances within his government. So what he did was he not only improved the road system, he actually divided his empire from the original four provinces of Cyrus to almost 20 provinces, and each was a satrap, as we discussed earlier, and he gave them a lot of independence. In fact, each satrap had a secretary who was responsible for policy, a treasurer who was responsible for collecting taxes and spending the money, and a general who actually commanded the troops within that particular area. And all three of them were would directly answer to the king, and they would not answer to the local satrap, but they would answer to the king himself. There was also a council of officials that would look at the accounts of each province at regular intervals of time, and make sure that there has been no corruption in those particular provinces. In fact, there were royal inspectors at that time as well. They were known as the king's heirs, and they could show up anywhere they wanted, and started to make inspections, and measure that everything was up to par, or the people were happy or not with the rule of the king. He also established a new capital, a new city. This city was known as Persepolis. Persepolis, as we have discussed earlier, was the capital of the Persian Empire, but it was actually established by the Darius the First, the king himself. And in order to meet the king, if you were going to Persepolis, then in order to meet the king, you actually had to pass through a lot of officials of king. This actually made meeting the king very cumbersome. It also alienated the king from day-to-day realities of the empire. His religious policy was also exactly like the policy of Cyrus the Great, that he actually himself was Zoroastrian, but he actually tolerated all of the other religions as well, and he actually created a lot of temples dedicated to Egyptian gods, because Egypt was also the part of Persian Empire at that time. On this page, what is this page? I think it's page number 45. There is a wheel of good governance. It's the Persian wheel of good governance. Like, if you keep taxes low, the government can be more powerful and richer. Why? Because if the taxes are low, the more people will pay the tax. If corruption has the level of corruption is low, that can only happen if the officials are tightly controlled. And if the trade increases, uh, that the only way to increase the trade is to improve the road system. You have to understand all of the you should read all of the parts of the wheel of good governance, and memorize it, and also keep it in mind, and it can be a part of the creative learning or SLO based questions. So uh, read it carefully, beta. So what were the factors that actually made the Persian Empire so successful? The first one was the economic development. Darius the First and almost all other Persian kings actually promoted agriculture and irrigation projects. They actually introduced crops to different crops to different areas. Like during this time, the sesame, or what we call in Punjabi or Urdu, what we call til. Sesame or til are the ones, if you eat kulchas in the morning, then they have little seeds on them. Or if you are having a very good burger, then the bun actually have little bit of seeds on it. Those are sesame seeds. It was introduced to Egypt for the first time during the reign of Darius the First, and the rice was introduced to Mesopotamia during his reign. This actually increased the prosperity of the people, and the taxes that people had to pay were also very less. In fact, it was actually like 20% of their total income. So all of this actually made the empire very economically successful. This is actually one of the reasons why the Persian Empire was so successful. Uh, Darius the First also captured Central Asia and he actually also conquered the Indus Valley as well. In fact, Cyrus the First was the first Persian Empire to conquer the Indus Valley, but Darius the First was the first king or the emperor of Persians that actually included the Indus Valley into its satraps. He also campaigned against the Scythians in Europe, and he actually launched the wars against the Greek city states, and actually won most of the wars that he fought, only losing at the Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE. One of the big success of their agriculture or economic development was the canal system, which was the underground system of canals for irrigation. The third important king after the Darius and Cyrus is the Xerxes. Xerxes was also a great king, but he actually contrasted with them with the Cyrus and Darius the first a lot. So the tradition was that every Persian king would, upon his coronation, would visit the temple of Babylon. Babylon was, as you know, still a very important city. But instead of visiting that city, what he did was he took the idol that was the gold statue of the Babylonian god, and he actually melted it into coins. This actually outraged the local Babylonians against him, but the revolt was actually brutally crushed. He also invaded Greece as well. He not only invaded Greece, but he actually defeated the Greek or the Spartans at Thermopylae, and he burned down the city of Athens as well. Athens was the largest and most important city of Greece at that time. So eventually, the Greeks defeated them at Battle of Salamis, and he withdrew from the Greece. But it was essentially a victory for the for the Persians overall. So, if the Persian Empire was so big and so great, then why did it fall? So, Alexander the Great is the individual that actually conquered the Persian Empire. He took the Macedonian army and Greek army and defeated Darius the Third, a very weak king of Persia. It is debatable as to what was the cause of this fall, but most historians agree that the empire was very dwindling at the time and struggling with finances. In fact, the war with the Greeks had actually depleted the treasury of the Persian Empire, which is also considered as the reason why the Persians actually melted the statue of God at Babylon. So this weakening eventually destroyed the kingdom, weakened the kingdom, and Alexander the Great came and defeated Darius the Third and took the empire for himself. In fact, it is debatable if he would have been able to conquer the Persian Empire when it was under Darius the First or Cyrus the First. Okay, beta, we have completed the chapter, and we will see its exercise when we will start face to face classes. I will also send the tutorial of the next chapter as well. So you have to make sure that you don't have to complete the whole chapter in one sitting. You can actually complete two topics or three topics or 2 pages or 3 pages or however you are comfortable. And again, beta, come to the class, the students of 6th A, you have to come to the class of geography, and you have to complete your geography syllabus over there. I will only send the tutorials of history, not geography. Why? Because we have almost completed the chapter of the third chapter of geography.